Saladin, Sultan, the Muslim king of Egypt and Syria known as Salah al-Din Yusuf ibn Ayyub is known by the Western name Saladin. In 1187, he memorably defeated a sizable force of crusaders at the Battle of Hattin and took control of Jerusalem. He governed a united Muslim region spanning from Egypt to Arabia at the height of his reign. Later generations of Muslims and many Westerners praised Saladin for his leadership, military prowess, kindness, and valor. Early life and rise to power in Egypt. Yusuf ibn Ayyub, who would later become Saladin, was born in Tikrit in central Iraq in 1137 or 1138. His father Ayyub and uncle Shirkuh were elite military commanders under Imad al-Din Zangi, a strongman who ruled northern Syria at the time. His family was of Kurdish heritage. The young Saladin was raised in Damascus and advanced through the military ranks before joining an army led by his uncle Shirkuh, who accompanied Zangi's heir and son-in-law, Nur al-Din, on a military expedition to Egypt. Shirkuh died in 1169, and Saladin was chosen to take over as commander of Nur al-Army's Dins in Egypt. He was also made vizier of the Fatimid Caliphate, which at the time dominated Egypt but was in disarray. After the last Fatimid caliph died in 1171, Saladin took over as governor of Egypt. He immediately set out to weaken Shia Islam's hold on the country and restore a Sunni government. He made Egypt a more powerful Sunni power base in the Near East by leading under the name of Nur al-Din campaigns against fellow Muslims. After Nur al-Din's Dins in 1174, Saladin began an invasion of the territories he had governed. He also aspired to make his government a powerful military force capable of confronting the four Crusader nations under Western domination, which had been founded following the First Crusade in 198,199. When Saladin came to Syria as Sultan of Egypt, he was able to oust previous Muslim tyrants from control of Damascus, Aleppo, and Mosul. Saladin's armies also took Yemen, allowing him to firmly establish authority over the whole Red Sea. He conducted diplomatic endeavors in addition to his military successes to further his objectives. His marriage to Ismet, the widow of Nur ad-Din and the daughter of the late Damascus king Unur, helped him establish legitimacy by connecting him to two powerful dynasties. Finally, by identifying himself as the head of a jihad, or holy war, devoted to defending Islam against Christianity, he won the allegiance of the majority of Muslims. Through a combination of diplomacy and military power, Saladin was able to unite the Muslim lands of Syria, northern Mesopotamia, Palestine, and Egypt under his dominion by 1186. In addition to being well known for his love of poetry and gardens, he developed a reputation as a kind and honorable leader, which was aided by the official biographers he employed to document his achievements. Defeat of Crusaders and capture of Jerusalem. Saladin gathered men from all over his kingdom south of Damascus and an outstanding Egyptian navy at Alexandria in order to launch a full-scale invasion in 1187 after fighting lesser battles against the Franks. On July 4, 1187, his army engaged the Franks in a fierce battle at Hattin, close to Tiberias, and soundly routed them. Following the victory at the Battle of Hattin, a series of swift victories were won throughout the Kingdom of Jerusalem, reaching a climax on October 2, 1187, when the city of Jerusalem, after 88 years under Christian rule, submitted to Saladin's army. Saladin consented to let them buy their release even though he had intended to execute all Christians in Jerusalem as retaliation for the massacre of Muslims in 1099. By then, Acre, Tiberias, Caesarea, Nazareth, and Jaffa were among the significant cities that Saladin's army had liberated from the Crusaders. He was unable to take Tyre, the seaside stronghold where the majority of the Crusaders who survived their defeats fled. The Third Crusade and Saladin's death. Pope Gregory III demanded a fresh crusade to retake Jerusalem after Saladin had already taken it. Three mighty rulers, Philip II of France, Richard I the Lionheart of England, and Frederick I Barbarossa, the German king and Holy Roman Emperor, rallied Christian forces at Tyre in 1189 to begin the Third Crusade. Acre was under siege when the Crusaders ultimately took it in 1191, along with a sizable portion of Saladin's navy. Saladin, however, resisted the Crusader army's assault and was able to keep hold of the majority of his empire despite their superior military might. The Third Crusade was put a stop to by his peace with Richard the Lionheart in late 1192. Saladin passed away in his cherished gardens in Damascus only a few months later, in March 1193. He was just 55 or 56 years old, But despite being young, he was worn out after a lifetime of almost non-stop military operations. By the time of his passing, he had distributed a large portion of his personal wealth to his followers, leaving nothing behind to even cover his own funeral expenses. After Saladin's death, the alliance of Muslim states he had built would disintegrate, but for many decades, Egypt and Syria were ruled by his dynasty, the Ayyubids.